You sit down to work, you open your laptop, you tell yourself, today will be different. Today you're finally going to focus, really focus. You take a deep breath, then your hand reaches for your phone, just 1 second, and suddenly 47 minutes disappear, gone. You don't even remember what you watched or why you picked up the phone in the first place. Now you're staring at your screen trying to remember what you were supposed to be doing. And deep down, you're starting to realize something terrifying. You can't focus anymore, not like before. Reading feels harder, thinking feels slower. Your attention span feels broken. Even simple tasks now feel mentally exhausting. And the scariest part, it keeps getting worse. Every month feels slightly harder than the last. And if this continues for another 5 years, what happens to your brain then? Because right now, millions of people are quietly losing their ability to think deeply. Not because they're lazy, not because they're weak, but because modern life is training their brains to avoid focus itself. Tonight, I'm going to show you why your attention span is collapsing, why your focus problems are getting worse, and the hidden habit that is quietly rewiring your brain every single night. Because once you see it, you will never look at your evenings the same way again. Most people think focus problems start in the morning. They blame the alarm, the coffee, their schedule, their job, their lack of discipline. But the truth is much darker. Your focus problems begin at night. Every night your brain faces a choice: recover or overload itself again, and almost nobody realizes they're choosing overload. Think honestly about your last few nights. The endless scrolling, the jumping between apps, one video becoming 10, the constant stimulation, the constant noise, the constant dopamine. Your brain never truly stopped, not once, and without silence, you cannot focus. That's the part nobody tells you. Your attention span doesn't collapse randomly. It collapses because your brain becomes addicted to stimulation. Every notification, every short video, every scroll, tiny dopamine hits, tiny rewards, tiny bursts of excitement, hundreds of them, every single night, and eventually your brain recalibrates. It starts expecting constant stimulation all the time. That's why normal life suddenly feels unbearable. Reading, too slow; deep work, too painful; thinking carefully, too exhausting. Your brain now craves speed, movement, novelty, noise. And when those things disappear, your focus disappears too. Not because you're lazy, because your brain adapted perfectly to the environment you trained it in. But here's the disturbing part. Your phone is not actually the real problem. It's just the delivery system. The real cause goes much deeper. And once researchers started understanding this, the modern attention crisis suddenly made terrifying sense. Your brain evolved for depth, not constant interruption. For thousands of years, human survival depended on sustained attention, tracking, building, observing, solving. Humans survived because they could focus deeply for long periods of time. Now, most people switch tasks every 40 seconds. 40 seconds. Your brain almost never enters deep focus anymore, and every interruption trains your attention span to become weaker. Because the brain follows one brutal rule: whatever you practice, you become. Practice patience, patience grows. Practice depth, depth grows. But practice distraction every night, and distraction becomes your default state. Every notification is rehearsal. Every scroll is rehearsal. Every midnight dopamine session is rehearsal. You are literally training your brain to avoid deep focus, and eventually, silence itself starts feeling uncomfortable. That's why so many people now panic in quiet moments. They always need music, videos, podcasts, notifications, something playing, because their nervous systems forgot what stillness feels like. And when silence starts feeling painful, That's no longer boredom, that's addiction, and addiction always destroys focus. But one man accidentally discovered something strange after changing one habit at night. Within weeks, his attention span started coming back. And the shocking part? It had nothing to do with productivity. Ethan thought he had a motivation problem. He believed he needed better discipline, better routines, better systems. So he tried everything: Pomodoro timers, productivity apps, morning routines, habit trackers, focus playlists. Nothing worked because Ethan was trying to fix the wrong problem. He didn't have a motivation problem. He had focus problems. And focus problems cannot be solved with motivation. Only recovery. Every night looked the same. Dinner scrolling, bed scrolling, videos about productivity while his brain remained completely overstimulated. Then suddenly, 2 a.m., eyes burning, mind exhausted, phone still glowing, sleep came late, and even when he slept, his brain never fully recovered. Every morning he woke up mentally foggy. His attention span kept shrinking. At work, he couldn't stay on one task. He would start an email, check his phone, open another tab, forget what he was doing, feel guilty, repeat the cycle again, hour after hour, day after day, and slowly. He stopped trusting himself, because when you can't focus anymore, you start questioning your intelligence, your discipline, your future. Then, one random Tuesday night, Ethan made one small decision. No phone after 10 p.m. That was it. No extreme routine, no productivity hack, no motivation. Just silence. The first night felt unbearable. His hands kept reaching for the phone automatically. His brain kept searching for stimulation, and when the screen finally stayed dark, something uncomfortable happened. His thoughts returned, the thoughts he had been drowning with noise for years: fear, anxiety, pressure, regret, loneliness. Silence suddenly felt loud. But he stayed with it, night after night, and slowly, something changed. He fell asleep faster, his anxiety dropped, his brain felt calmer, and 2 weeks later, he sat down to work one morning and focused for nearly an hour without touching his phone. For the first time in years, that's when Ethan understood the truth. You cannot build focus on top of an exhausted brain. No amount of discipline can fix chronic overstimulation. Here's what most people don't understand. Attention span is emotional. When your nervous system is overloaded, focus disappears first, because deep focus requires calm. Stress destroys focus. Overstimulation destroys focus. Sleep deprivation destroys focus. And modern nights combine all three. Your brain never receives the signal that the day is over. It remains alert, scanning, waiting, reacting, and eventually, your nervous system enters survival mode, not panic, but permanent low-grade alertness. And in survival mode, you react instead of think, consume instead of create, scroll instead of focus. That's why so many people feel mentally fragmented today, not because they're weak, because their brains never truly recover anymore. But neuroscientists discovered something hopeful. The brain can recover far faster than most people realize, and it starts with one decision almost nobody makes anymore. Your brain needs an ending, not endless stimulation until unconsciousness. An actual ending to the day. Silence, darkness, stillness, recovery. But most people never truly end the day mentally. Their body enters bed while their mind keeps consuming. Still scrolling, still reacting, still overloaded, and a brain that never ends the day, never fully recovers. The people with the strongest focus are usually not superhuman. They simply protect their nights. Less stimulation, less noise, less dopamine, less emotional chaos before sleep, and the results are dramatic. Sleep improves, mental fog lifts, attention span grows stronger, deep focus slowly returns. Not because of motivation, because the brain was finally allowed to recover, because focus is not something you force, it's something you protect. And the protection begins at night. Most people spend years trying to improve their mornings while completely destroying their nights, and that's why nothing changes. You cannot out-discipline an exhausted brain. You cannot think clearly with a nervous system trapped in constant stimulation. But your brain is not broken. It is exhausted. And exhaustion responds to one thing: real rest, real silence, real recovery. Maybe the reason you can't focus anymore isn't because you're weak. Maybe your brain has simply been overloaded for too long. So tonight, try something different. Put the phone down earlier, dim the lights. Let your brain experience silence again. Because a brain that truly rests wakes up different. And the focused version of you might still be there, waiting quietly on the other side of a better night. If this video made something click for you, subscribe to The Blind Spot, because the most dangerous things shaping your life are usually the things nobody notices anymore.